Hello everyone. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going over the math with calculus section on the SAT test October 2021. So if you already know an answer or know how to do a question, you can fast forward. If you need more time, you can pause the video. I highly recommend you guys to try the question first before you see how I solve it for you. Okay, so let's dive into this. So Math with Calculator on SAT has 38 questions. 30 of them are multiple choice and 8 of them are open response questions. So normally number 1 through 10 are the easiest questions on the test. And so you don't want to spend too much time on these questions. You want to spend more time on question 20 to 30. Those are the hardest questions. And according to my student experience, they miss those questions the most. So you want to allocate more time on the later questions than these easy questions. 1 to 10 now tend to be very easy. So if you spend way too much time on these, that means your approach is wrong. So let's dive into this. So number 1, it's a word problem. Normally for word problem, I go to the question first to see what they ask. So if you know your destination, you can always go back to find more information to get to your destination. So the question is, what is the density in grams per cubic centimeter of the piece of wood? And they even give you the formula for this. Density equals to mass over volume. They give you mass, they give volume right there. So 10 over 12.5. And if you use your calculator, so this is a calculator section, do not try to do it in your head because there's no reason why. Use your calculator, please, guys. At the same time, it's accurate. The answer is 0.8, which is A. Number 2. Also an easy question. So this is a box plot question. For those of you who forgot what a box plot is, this is a quick review. So this is general box plots. This is how it looks. And the only few things you need to know is, so this is the minimum data. This is max. And this is the median, which is the middle number of any set of data, the median. Okay. So a box plot can look like this. So the median could be here. It doesn't have to be in the middle of the box. And this one right here is first quartile. And this right here is third quartile. And I will make a video going in depth of what each means. But for the purpose of this question, they're asking for the median. So all we need to know is, where is the median? Right there. It's 5. So the answer is 5. So question 1 to 10, normally it takes you about 5 seconds to solve. Number 3. So this question asks you the difference between linear and exponential models. Linear model is a straight line, and exponential model is normally look like that. That's increasing. This is increasing linear, and then decreasing linear look like this. Linear means line, okay? Exponential, decreasing look like that. So let's see. So for linear, every year or every period of time, it increases by the fixed amount, okay? Where it's exponential, it's proportion. It's not proportion. It's like, so if you learn in Algebra 1, linear is arithmetic sequence, whereas exponential is geometry. So it goes by multiples. Let's say at the beginning, you have $2. Next week, it's doubles. So you times the initial amount by 2. And the week after that, it will be double again. So here for linear, it increased by fixed amounts. So let's say week 1, so you start with $2. So week 0, you start with $2. Week 1, you add 2. Week 2, you add 2 more. Week 3, you add 2 more. Week 4, you add 2 more. So you add the same amount every time. Whereas exponential, it goes by the multiples. So let's say you start week 1, you start with 2. Week 2, week 0, you start with 2. Week 1, you start you double that, and then week 2, you double that again. So this one you double that again, and this one you double that again. Sorry. This is 32. So here you add fixed amounts, and this is a slope. And here you multiply by fixed amounts. And this is called a common ratio. So let's see, let's check this. So the beginning, let's start with 62 pounds. The calf is expected to gain 2 pounds every day for the first 2 years. So it gains 2 pounds every day. Which one is that? The answer is A, because it increased by the fixed amount every day, 2 pounds every day. So this is linear increasing. Okay, awesome. Well, this is graphing function, linear function. Back in the day, again, we learned y equal to mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercepts. So to say which one graph this, so the first equation, it starts with -3 is the y-intercept. Let's graph both functions very fast. So it starts with -3, 1, 2, and 3, because -3 is the y-intercept. The slope is -1/2. -1/2 means you go to 1, you go across 2. And you can also use your graphing calculator, put them in the calculator. So this is question kind of easy. And the second function is -7 is the y-intercept. So this is -3, -4, -5, -6, -7. And the slope is -5/1. So you go down further, 5 more, and go across 1. My screen doesn't allow me to do that, so it's kind of look like this. Which one is that? So this is wrong because the slope of one line is positive. This is wrong, slope one line. Let me see. So -7, and we don't see. I think it's B. Let's scroll down a little bit to see, make sure we didn't miss out D. Hang on. Oops, I'm wrong. The answer is D, because the slope here is 1/2, -1/2. The slope here is not -1/2. The answer is D. Okay, this is linear equation, straight up solving. They ask for x plus 4. You have 6 times x plus 4 equal to 36. So if you divide it by 6 on both sides, you get it 6. It's very easy. So let's move on. Okay. SolidWorks. Let's read the question first. I don't want to read everything else on top. So this is the x-axis is heart rate. This one is oxygen uptake. So let's read this. At the skier, heart rate was 85. So 85 is about, this is 90. So about, that's 85. Okay. Which of the following is closest to the difference in between the skew actual oxygen and predicted. So this whole thing is a scatter plot. This line, anything is on the line is predicted, and every dot outside, these are real data collected by researchers, okay? So these are real. So they're asking for the actual, which is the difference between the real data and the predicted data. So that's the difference that we have to find. So in this case, from this dot to here, that is about 0.5. So the answer is 0.5. Okay. Next one. So this question is a statistics questions, mean, median, and mode. So here it says, what statement about the mean pH data set X and set Y is true? What's the best way to do this? We actually have to find the mean. For those you who don't know this, mean means average. So we add all the numbers up and you divide it by the total, the number of numbers. So 5.5 plus 5.5 plus 5.6, 5.65 plus 5.66. All of them divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we graph my calculator. So 5.5 plus 5.5 plus 5.6 plus 5.65 plus 66. So that is equal to 5.582. So that is 6x. So this is 5.582. And then similarly, we do the same thing for set y. 4 plus 5.5 plus 5.5 plus 5.6 plus 5.65 plus 5.66. There's 6 data, so we divide by 6. It's 5.318. A, the mean pH of X is greater than, so this is right. The mean data set is less, no. X is less than, is equal, no. And I just want to review with you how to find the mean. But if you look at the 2 sets of data, the data are, so the only difference between the 2 sets of data is set data set, it has 4 right here. So apart from that, everything else is the same. When you add a lower number like that, that means it will lower the mean values. So obviously, without even calculating, you can see that the mean value for set Y is less. Same thing when you in the class, when you take like, let's say 5 tests, yeah, and your friend takes 6 tests. The 5 tests, you both have the same score. But if you take your friend take another test and his score is lower, of course his average is lower than yours. And that's the same concept. Number 8. So they give you this function, whereas F is the length in micrometers, and whereas T is time. What is the predicted length? 10 minutes. So all you have to do is plug 10 in there and you figure out the answer. So F of 10 is equals to 0.025 times 10 plus 10.30. So again, let's bring our calculator back. 0.025 times 10 equals plus 10.30. And they want you to round to the nearest 10. So this is 10.55, round nearest 10 is 10.6. This is also an easy question. Next one, what is the best interpretation of 0.025? So this question is median. So they're asking for the meaning of the slope right here. As you notice, this is in the format of y equals to mx plus b as well. And 0.025 is a slope in this context. So back in Algebra 1, the definition of the slope is change in y over unit change in x. Why do I emphasize the word units? That means it changed over 1 unit of x, like 1 minute or $1. So changing y over each change in x. So in this case, what does that mean? Y is the length. So we can say that the change could be increase or decrease. So change in length, and it's positive, so it's increase in length over each minute, because x in this case is time. Okay, so 0.025 means what? Increase in length over each minute. Which one says that? Not A, not B. Increase in length of a server area now. So increase in length over each minute. The answer is D. So please memorize this formula right here. Slope is change in y over each unit change in x. And all you have to do is replace the y and x with the real world representation of it. Number 10. So this is inequalities. It says which order pair represent a possible amount of money y he saved in next days. So basically it's asking which point is the solution. For inequalities, the solution is the point. It has to be within this shaded region right here. So all we have to do is to see which point is in this red shaded region. So 18 and 50. So 18 and 50 right there. This is in the, we know that's the answer. So we don't have to check everything. Let's just check one more point. 12 and 75. It's out here. So that's not. And you guys can test the rest of it. Number 12. So line P is shown in the XY plane. Line Q is perpendicular to line P. So let's look at line P. Line P, the slope equals to, okay, slope of line P, rise over run, so it goes down, so it's -1. So let's find out the slope of line Q. For those who forgot this, perpendicular line means the slopes perpendicular slopes are two things you have to remember: opposites and reciprocal. Okay, so what does that mean? So here the slope is -1. So the slopes of perpendicular line has to be opposites. So this is negative, it has to be positive. Reciprocal means you flip over. This is 1, so it's still 1. So slope of Q is 1. So we know the line of Q is 1, and it go through point 1 and 0. We can actually plot this 1 and 0. The slope is 1. So the line looks like that. Let's see which point is on it. As you notice, point 0, -1 is on it. You can also write the equation for Q and plug the points and see which one works. But because they give you graph, you can just graph this line. Okay, so let's move on to number 12. The function at equal to 10, 1/2 to power t over 30. Which of the following is best interpretation of value n in this context? So this is, what is it called? Exponential decay model. So in general, we have new equals to original times 1 plus r over t. So this is a general equation, okay? And it depends on situation. We take t divided by whatever number, and the rate is different. So here, they're asking for the meaning of 10 only, okay? So 10 right there. 10. So this is the original amounts. So let's see which one says the original amounts. Initial mass. So initial mass right here. The mass after 30 seconds, no. The number of seconds, no. The number of seconds. So the answer is the initial amount, or original amount. So nu equal to original amount times 1 plus r over t. And again, this is the general equation for exponential growth or decay, okay? It decay when you subtract r, so 1 plus or minus r. And this is actually a decay problem. How do I know it's decay? Because here the rate is 1/2 means 50%. So this is 1 minus 0.5 to power t over 30. And as you notice, again, 10 is the original amounts. So that's the answer, okay? So let's see, which of the following is sufficient to prove line L and M are parallel? So back in the days in geometry and 8th grade math, you learn this, two parallel lines. And in order to prove that parallel line, there are a few cases. You can prove alternate interior. Alternate interior. We can also use corresponding angles theorem, converse. So, and then also we have alternate exterior. So let's check which one works. So Y and Z are, so Y and Z are alternate interior. So this is Y and Z. So we need to prove those. Corresponding, we got Z and W. Let's see which one have that. And we don't have alternate exterior here. So Y and Z, W and Z, and that's right there, W and Z, okay? Okay, so we have two sets of data. This is dot plots. You don't do this. Let's just write out the set of data. So this is 22, 23, 25, 25, and 28, 28. And this subset of data is 22, 21, 24. Okay, since you have a calculator, you can easily calculate the mean. Let's find out the median. So back in the day, you guys learned the median. This is how you deal with median. What you do, so you do this. So this, and when you have two numbers in the middle, you find the average. So 25 plus 25, 50 divided by 2. So the median for x is 25. Let's do the same thing. 1, 1, 1, 1. Again, it's the same. So the median is for y is 5. So we know the median is the same. So this one is good. Well, we know it's not this, we know it's not this. We have to check the mean as well. So let's figure out the mean. Let's use a calculator. You can use common sense. 22 plus 23 is the same as 21 plus 24, and 25 plus 25. These are the same. The only difference in two set of data is, so this is 28, 28, this is 28, 29. So we know the mean is different for both of them. Okay, so I think the answer is 2 only. But you can also add them up divided by 6 and check your answer. Okay, make sure. So it's B. Okay. So in 480 BC, the population was 49.4. The population was 44% of the world population at that time. Okay, so we know that PE, Persian Empire, is 0.44 because 44% of the world. Yes, and we know that PE is 49. So I highly recommend you guys with percent question, you always start out with this equation. And then we replace the variable that we know. So this is 0.44. They're asking what is the world? So the world population is 49.4 divided by 0.44. And let's double check, see what it is. 49.4 divided by 0.44. The answer is 112, which is D. Okay. Median, number 16. It says, which of the following is best interpretation of the y-coordinate, y-intercept of the line of best fits? So y-intercept means what is y when x is 0? So y-intercept is the point where it crosses the y-axis right there, and it is y when x is 0. So which one says that? So for x is 0, right there, and it's 6, okay? And in this question right here, they're asking, what are the coordinates of the point at which the line crosses x-axis? So let's say you have a line, it crosses x-axis. In other words, they're asking for the x-intercept. And what is x-intercept? It is when y equal to 0. So all you do is replace y with 0 and solve for x. So for x plus 3 times 0 equals to q. This is actually an easy question. So we know 4x equal to 9. So x is equal to, q equal to q. So x equals to q over 4. Q over 4, which is this. Okay. Number 18. It took 20 minutes for a jet to climb from a starting altitude 10 feet to a final altitude 30,000 feet. At this rate, constant rate, what was its altitude in 14 minutes? So 10,000 to 30,000, that means in 20 minutes, it climbs 20,000 feet. In 20 minutes. You can just subtract them, 20 minutes. So what does that mean? The rate will be, it climbs 1,000 feet in 1 minute. So what they ask, what was altitude 14 minutes after the climb? So after 14 minutes, if it climbs at 1,000 feet per minute, that means 14 minutes, he has climbed 14,000 feet. However, they didn't ask for after 14 minutes, how much did he climb? They asked what was its altitude. Okay, so you started with 10,000. So some students solved it and they chose A immediately, which is wrong because they didn't read the question carefully. So you start, the jet started at 10,000. It climbed 14,000. So it will end up at 24,000. The answer is C. Okay. Number 19. Well, this is just simplifying polynomials or FOIL things out. Formula that I want to kind of review with you guys is this formula right here. So if you have, this is the squares of the difference. If you have A plus B squared, it's the same as a squared plus 2 times ab plus b squared. So let's apply this to this. X plus 2 squared is the same as x squared plus 2 times x times 2 is 4x plus 4. And then we have an x in the front, so x, we just distribute the x to all of them. X cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x. They're asking for B and C, so the sum is 8. Well, number 20, this is rational function. That means function in fraction form, okay? So this is algebra 2, rational function. Rational function. Rational means what? Function in ratio or fraction form. There's 2 ways where you do this. The first way is you can use a calculator, but the student will ask me the question. They will ask me a question. So when you have k, how do you graph on a calculator? The answer is very easy. You can just pick any random number for k. K is a positive constant, and when you pick a number, do not ever pick what is it called, 1 or 0, because they're too special. So what you want to do is you pick, let's say you pick 3 for k, and you can just put this function in your calculator and see how it looks. And then whichever matches with your graph in the calculator, that will be your choice. But let's review rational functions. 2 things you need to really care about is the horizontal and the vertical asymptotes. How do we find those? Vertical asymptotes are the line like this. That's vertical asymptotes. And horizontal asymptotes are like this. When you figure that out, you know where it is. First of all, for horizontal asymptote or vertical horizontal asymptotes, let's rewrite this as negative x plus 3 and x plus 1. Since the degrees for the numerator and denominator, they're both 1. When the degree is the same, horizontal asymptotes is easy. The function will be the ratios of the coefficient of x. So here is negative 1. So the horizontal asymptote will be y equal to negative 1. So we know this is wrong. We know this is wrong. Only 2. So this is negative 1 right here. This is also negative 1. Now let's find out vertical asymptotes. Vertical asymptote is the restriction on x. So we set the denominator equal to 0. And you know that. So here, x equal to negative 1 as well. So x equal to negative 1. Which one says that? This one. So the answer has to be A. But you can also verify with your calculator. (21). This is an easy question. Actually, if you know the equation of a circle. So general equation of a circle. X minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals to r squared, where the center of the circle is h and k, and the radius is r. So if you know this equation, this question is very easy. So it says that the center is 1 and 1, radius is 2. You can write this equation yourself. X minus 1 squared, because this is h and k, y minus 1 squared equals to 2 squared. Which one says that? This one, because 2 squared is 4. Clear that, clear that. Well, this is a special right triangle type question. The good news is the formula for special right triangle is on the formula charts, so you don't have to memorize it. Special right triangle. And this is actually a 30 60 and 90 degrees triangle. So here's a formula. If this is x, the sine that is opposite of 30 degrees is x. This side is x root 3, and this side is 2x. And you have this formula on the chart, so you don't have to memorize this. So let's label this. So this is x. This is x root 3, because this angle is 60, and this is 2x. What do they ask? AC, which is the biggest side. If this side is 5, this is 2x, x is 5, 2x is 10. The answer is B. Okay. The function f contain a, b in the x-plane, and then the point a plus 1, 1/3 b is also in the graph. Which of the following could define f? So all of these functions are exponential functions. So let's see those 2 points, okay? So the first point a plus b, and the second point is a plus 1. A plus 1, and then 1/3 b. So if you notice, so the original value is a and b, and the next one is a plus 1. That means when x increased by 1, b goes 1/3. Which one says that? So which function says that when x is increased by 1, y value goes by 1/3? And the obvious answer is B. Because if you plug 1 in here, y will be 1/3. So the next number would be, it's always, so when, let's say f of 1 is 12 times 1/3, 2 power 1, f of 2. So when x increased by 1, what happens? So it'll be 1/3 to second power, which means it will be 12 times 1/3 times 1/3. If you notice, the next number is 1/3 of the original number. And if you do f of 3, the pattern continues like that. So that's exactly how it works. The answer is B. Next one right here. Approximately 90% of volume iceberg lies below the surface. If A represents the volume iceberg lies above, so if you notice, 90% is below, and then A represents volume. So A is 10%, because if 90% is below, then above the surface will be 10% of total volume. V represents total value. So we actually already solved this equation, 0.1 V. Which one says that? Let's see. Let me see if the answer is C. It is C. Okay. 25. In 2007, gathered data about money collected for the arts, entertainment, recreation industries in 8 states. The ratio of money collected in all 8 states to the state of Florida. So the ratio, when you see the word ratio, let's write out what that ratio is, okay? What does it represent? So 8 states. So ratio, you can write in fraction form like this: to Florida is equals to 11 to 8. Okay, if X dollars was collected in 8 states, so X is in all 8 states, which expression resident in Florida? So let's say Florida is this, and it's equal to 11 over 8. Which expression represent total amount of money collected in Florida? So that means they want F. Let's use cross multiply to solve for this. Okay, they want F, not X. Say, so 11 times F equals to 8 times X. You divide it by 11. So we want F equals to 8x over 11. And the answer is A. Okay, so be careful. Whatever they ask, you want to solve for that variable. They want Florida. And when it comes to ratio, always write down what it means by the ratio. They say ratio of money in A state, your A states, to Florida, and equal to what? 11 to 8. And you set up this proportion, you can always do cross multiply. Okay. 26. Now, you see the word standard deviation. So the good news is on the SAT, most of the time they already test you to see if you understand what standard deviation means. I haven't seen a test where it asks you to solve or calculate standard deviation. So let's briefly talk about standard deviation. Imagine I give you, I collect the data for my test for 2 classes, okay? So class A, so I have students who score 45, 50, 52, 55, 60 on the test. And class B, 20 on the test, 50 on the test, 60 on the test, 80 on the test, and 100 on the test. If you notice, class A, the test scores are kind of close together. The students perform equivalently. Nobody did too bad, nobody did too good. So average, everyone is on an average level. Whereas class B, there's some students who score very low and some students score very high. So the data in class B vary more, okay? So it's more diverse. So standard deviations tell you how diverse your data is, how spread out your data is, how varied your data is. So here, standard deviation is how diverse your data is. The less diverse, the smaller standard deviation. The more diverse, the greater standard deviation. So let's look at the chart real fast. Here, the value 4, 5, and 6. So the number are clustered together in the middle right here. So this set of data is less diverse than this set of data. Here you have 3, you have 4, 5, 6, and 3. So basically, we know the standard deviation for set B is higher. So standard deviation for B is greater than standard deviation for A. How much greater, we don't know until we calculate them. But the TSAT do not ask you to do that. So let's not do that. Okay, so let's cross out the choices that doesn't say that. So A is greater than B, wrong. Standard B is greater, so let's leave it there. A is greater, no, and B is greater. So let's leave it there. The set of data has standard deviation. Wait, so this one says standard deviation. Okay, same, so we cross them out. Standard deviation greater. So we don't even have to calculate the mean because the standard deviation tells you the stories right here. Okay. Let's move on to 27. Which equation is most appropriate quadratic model for the graph here? So all you have to do is to use a few points and plug it in to see which one works. So what are the points? Here we have 2 and 1. What else we got? 3 and 2. What else we got? 4 and about 4.5. Okay. So let's test a few of them, see which one works. And it's very obvious. So let's plug in an A. 2 squared is 4 times 4 is 16. Definitely not A. 2 squared is 4 times 2 is 8. Definitely not this. 2 squared is 4 divided by 2 is 2. I don't think it's this one either. But let's test G. 2 squared is 4 divided by 4 is 1. So 2 squared, 1/4 of this. This is 1. So it worked for this point. 2 squared is 9. So 1/4 of 9. So this is about 2.25. And then 1/4 of 4 squared, which is 16, divided by 4 is around 4. So this one is closest to all the points. Therefore, this is correct. That's the best way to do this, guys. Which of the following has a maximum value of m, where m is a positive constant? Okay, so let's review this. Maximum value, okay? So when you have a function in this form, a x minus h squared plus k, this is called vertex form of the quadratic function. And the vertex, the reason it's called vertex form because it displays a vertex. This is h and k. And if a is positive, we know the graph open down. So the vertex is actually mid. And if a is less than 0, which is negative, the graph open up. I'm sorry. So when a is positive, the graph open up. Let's go up. And when a is negative, the graph open down. And this point, the vertex is actually max. So first of all, let's see which one is negative. So here, m is positive. So we know that this one is max. This is not max. This is min. So, and let's look at this. So negative mx squared. So here, h, this one, h and k is above 0. So the vertex is at 0, 0. So not m. Here, the vertex is what? So this one, the vertex is h is 0 and k is m. So the maximum value is actually here. This one, the vertex is at negative m and 0 because k is 0. So the maximum value for this is actually 0. So the answer is not D. The answer is C. And that's how you solve this. Okay. Now, so with this problem, you have to write with percent, when I say decrease or whatever it is, you have to write that equation. Don't try to guess or do it in your head. So a quantity, let's say that quantity we start out with y. It decreased by 45%. Okay, so this is the original one. So I'm sorry. So this is the new value, which is x in this case. Okay, so it says is result into x. So x is decreased by 45%. So anything you always start out with 100%. If you decrease by 45%, what does that mean? It will be 100% minus 45, and that's 55%. Okay, so x is actually 55% compared to the original value. Okay, so what is 55%? 55%, if you change it to decimal, it would be 0.55 original. They actually ask you which one represents the original quantity. So what you do is you divide both sides by 0.55. So it's actually x over 0.55. Okay, the answer is B. A lot of people would choose A. Okay, next. Number 30. So some of my students, they took this test and say, oh, wow, this is easy. Because they say 3 square miles, and then what is the area? So 1 mile is this, they multiply by 3. And that is wrong, okay? That's the trap. This is a hard problem, so it's not as easy as it looks. So this one is 3 square miles. The area of this is 3 square miles. Okay, so we know that 1 mile is equal to 1,760 yards. You want to know what is a square yards. So the first thing you do first is convert 1 mile square into, so you want to do 1 mile square, not 1 mile. And how do you do this? Squared, so you have to square this side, you have to square this side. It's actually equal to this square. Okay, so let's calculate that. So 1760 squared. So 1 square mile is equals to 3,097,600 square yards. And you have 3 square miles, you multiply this by 3, the answer is D. Okay. So move to 31. I assume it's going to be easy because it start the open response question. So ratio of students, so students to teacher is 18:1. There's 105 teachers, so we want to know students. So students 105 teachers equals to 18/1. So basically students equals to 18 times 105. Like I said, it's an easy question. So 18 times 105, 1,890. Move on. So here they're asking you, if the equation has no solution, what's value of B? So if you look at the two sides, when does it have no solution? If the coefficient of x right here and here, they're the same, what happened? So these two will cancel each other out. We have 7 equal to 5, which doesn't make sense. So this one will have no solutions. In terms of the line, so the two lines are parallel is when they have no solutions. And as you notice, 2 and B are the slopes. So the only case for it to have no solution is when 2 is B. Okay, so the coefficient of x are the same. And you don't believe me, let's solve this equation to see if there's any solution or not. You notice the 2x are the same, so you cancel out. So 7 with 5, this doesn't make any sense. So this is wrong. So there's no solution to this equation. And B is 2. Okay. So there are 1,000 four-digit number from 1,000 to 1,999. If one of these numbers is selected random, what is the probability greater than? So greater than 1,499. That means we want to go from what? 1,500 to 1,999. Let's see how many numbers is that. So from 1,001. All that, we have 499 numbers. And including this, we'll have a total of 500 numbers. So the probability will be 500 out of the total of 1,000. So that's 1/2, 1.5, okay? (34). This is system equations. If you guys notice, they don't ask for x or y. They ask for x plus 2y. When it comes to this, they actually test to see if you see a pattern here or not. Sometimes they ask you what is 40x plus 200y, that kind of stuff. So you should not even solve for x and y because it takes too much time. So here, they want you to find the value of 1x plus 2y. Let's see what we can do to get to this point. So this is 3 and 2, this is 4 and 2. If you notice, if you subtract them, you get the answer immediately. So remember, when they ask this kind of question, they actually ask you to look for a pattern. What can you do? So this is x plus 2y equals to 20. So the answer is 20. You don't have to solve for x and y. It takes very fast to do this. Now, this is quadratic equation. They don't ask for the solution. They're asking if C and D, so the solution, they're asking for the sum. So this is actually easy. So just want you to remember this. This is called Viet theorem, okay? And memorize this theorem. It will help a lot on the test. Okay, what is Witt theorem? So for any quadratic equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0, the sum of the solution is negative b over a. And the product is c over a. What do I mean? So here they ask for the sum. All you need to do is, so c plus d, it will be negative b, which is 3, because b is negative 3 divided by a, which is 2. The answer is 3 over 2. Okay, so you don't have to solve for anything. Moving on, next one. Again, they ask for the sum. We could use the same Witt theorem. So let's try the Witt theorem again, because I kind of like that theorem. So let's follow this out, okay? So x squared, negative 5x plus 2x negative 3x minus 10. So let's move everything to one side. So x squared minus 4x minus 12 equal to 0. You can factor it, solve for x, or you can just use a Witt theorem. So the sum equals to negative b over a. Negative b is 4 over a is 1. The answer is 4. Okay, I just leave it as that. Or some of you might want to fancy and solve this. This one you can just factor it out. So x minus 6, x plus 2. So the answer is x equal to 6 and x equal to negative 2. The sum is still 4. Okay, so the answer is still 4. Same thing. Okay, so they give a table. This is total population of women, and this is registered women voters in 2012, and that's the whole thing. The number of women voters was P% of total women population. What is the value of P? Nearest whole number. So we want 81. Okay, we want 81 122 equals 66 3. So make sure you multiply. They said nearest whole number, so you round this to 66. The answer is 66. 38. So here is a probability question. If a woman, okay, so if a woman is selected at random, total ages 45 to 64. So this is a very, very important phrase right here. So when you see this phrase, if something is selected, so immediately you want to circle that row or column that contain whatever they selected. So here they selected this. So you only circle this row. And let's ignore everything else. Let's imagine they don't even exist. Okay, forget about everything else. Let's zoom yourself into this. Only. What is the probability that selecting register woman voter? Okay, so all you do is, so register is 30 over 42. So they want to be decimal, not percent anymore. So 30 divided by 42 and round it to the nearest 100. So this one is 0.714. So we're going to round it to the nearest 100, which is 0.71. And that's what they want. That's the answer. Okay, so that's the end of this section. If you don't understand something, you can always email me at Van Houston Academy at gmail.com. Okay, and good luck.